Hey, thank you. For now, let me just say I'm Elizabeth Ajayi, and let's go on with the presentation. I would first start with a video. I just want us to watch this short video clip. Since being a child, she watched women around her and decided, I will be more than this. I will do more than this. She knew what she wanted, and she went after it with everything she had. The degree, the promotion, the title she had worked for. She was building a life, working, striving, and showing up every day for her dreams and plans. The future she believed was still far away, not knowing every choice she made was shaping the life she would one day live. She planned beautifully. 27 years later, she has built a career and family. She is still delivering and being someone others rely on. But somewhere quietly, the clock has started ticking. Then she begins to ask herself, what comes next? What happens when this is over? Who am I beyond the titles? And the truth is, she never answered those questions till career season was over. And then this season comes. The career is behind her, the pace is slower, and days are quieter. She is not unhappy, but she will tell you if you sit with her long enough that she wished someone had told her earlier. Not just about money, but about who she would be without her job and the days that feels like she owned the entire calendar. But retirement is not just about stopping work. It is about new identity, new way of life, and understanding the new dimension of purpose. The truth is, this season does not begin when work ends. It begins long before then. One woman, three seasons. One question not answered early enough. When pens go up, will you be ready? Okay. Since being a child. So, who am I? I'm Elizabeth Anoluwapo Ajayi. I'm a social and an educational gerontologist. And because today I'm not the discussion is outside the titles. So this is just me. I am coming as I am. I'm a researcher, I'm a faith-based feminist, I'm a community practitioner, and I'm an advocate for aging with dignity. I started the Lifeline to Sustainable Social Development Legacy Foundation, and I'm the lead director of LEAD Initiative. LEAD is Legacy Education Aging with Dignity Initiative. And my research, as a researcher, my research has always been on older persons, the needs of older persons, how to live with older persons, how older persons can find their purpose. And so that is what I have been doing at least all my academic life, all my life as a career person. And I authored two books. Every season has a meaning, which is a guide, a dignity guidebook, and also living your journey, which has to relate with what we are here to do today. So let's start the discussion. If I ask, most of us, we plan for our degrees, we plan for our career paths, and we are actually living them. We plan for businesses. Some of us had the pictures of how our family would look like even before we stepped into the family tree. But one thing is absent most times. If I ask us now that since January, I want us to react in the comment section, in the chat section. If I ask us that since January, let's just take January 2026 as an example. Since January, if you want to quantify how many minutes or hours you have tried to plan your career development, the next promotion, what you need for the next promotion, the certifications you need to have, the money you need to make. If you quantify them by hours, how many hours do you think you have spent from January till date? I want to see our reaction in the comment section. It's a question for everybody to answer. So let me have your response in the comment section. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, go on. We can. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Plenty hours. Okay, now. Any other person, how many hours do you think you have spent thinking of how to develop your career, how to grow If you're still online, please let me see your. So it's not like I'm the only one speaking. I'm speaking to myself. Plenty. Okay. So we already have two reactions. Now, if I ask you how many hours or how many minutes, not hours now, how many minutes have you stayed and just think of what would my retirement be? What would my life be outside my 9 to 5? Can I have that? How many days or how many hours or how many minutes do you think you have done with that? To just think about, maybe you're closer, just think about, okay, I'm going to retire one day. Do we have anyone? Okay, that's nice. I've started planning since October 2025. That's beautiful. So, so are you also planning? Have you started planning? So in reality, and from my years of experience working with older persons, relating with older persons, one thing I've stood out. I've had researches. Okay, yeah, I said apart from monitoring my retirement savings, no concrete plans, but plenty dreams. Yeah. And so that is the reality. When people talk about planning for retirement, it is always about finance. That is the majority of the time when we hear you plan for retirement, it is what is in my retirement savings, what business will I do, this, how do I make more money? But in reality, have you been really planning for the life outside your titles? Because at some point, whether you want to retire or not, retirement will come either because at your place of work you have to retire or because your health or something would not allow you to continue. So, because we grow older daily, it is certain that we have to retire. So why do you think we have to plan for retirement? That's also a question. Why do you think we have to plan for retirement? Why is it necessary to plan for retirement? I'm expecting your feedback. Why do we have to plan for retirement? So that we are not over dependent. Okay, that's nice. Any other point? To enjoy ourselves. Ge. Okay, no. Yeah, so that we can enjoy ourselves. To make life easier for us, we need to plan for our retirement. Yeah. So we are all correct. Planning for our retirement is very, very vital. But it's beyond the monetary aspect. The planning we are supposed to do is beyond the monetary aspect. When retirement comes to mind, the first thing that comes to mind is I want to enjoy myself. I want to be able to Sorry, I want to enjoy myself. I want to be able to go, go for vacations, do a lot of things. The time I don't have now, I want to be able to use it very well. But as women, we are always craving, let me use that word, we are always craving for holidays. We are always craving just to have a break from children, have a break from a lot of people around us. We just want to cool our heads off because we have been bothered. We go for our 9 to 6, 9 to 5. At the end of the day, we come back home, we do a lot of house chores and co. So we crave a lot for having a rest period. But in reality, when retirement comes, we have the whole calendar to ourselves. No deadlines, there's no deadline, there's no boss you are answerable to, there's no research paper you want to submit, nothing. You just have the whole time to yourself. And it becomes important to plan for retirement because 40% of women, from even personal experiences relating with older women, 40% of women retire to less than what they planned for, less than, or let me say, less than what they expected to meet at retirement. And God helping us, it's just natural that over the years now, women live longer than men. And so, as a woman, you have about 7 to 10 years opportunity to live longer than an average man. And also, as a woman also at retirement, most of us, like 60% of us, become caregivers, either to our grandchildren, our aging parents, our spouse. We just become a caregiver at some point. And so Because of the statistics, women face this challenge, professional women face these challenges and these risks at retirement. All our lives, our identity has been tied to a particular career and our daily life, family life. We care for the children, care for our spouses. We have the title doctor. We are doing well in our profession. We're a director. We are this, we are that. Our career is tied to our identity. And also, as women, we pause at some times of our earning life, the vibrant life. If you notice the picture, the video that I played earlier, in that video, there was a part where 27 years later was raised because the volume there was high because that's more or less like the most active years for everyone. And unfortunately, those more active years also, the kind of work we can do as women is limited, kind of. It is not, we don't have the whole luxury of time to relax, to even look for extra means of income or to be actively involved in extra means of income because we have kids to care for, we have our loved ones to care for, because our family expect us to even keep caring even after retirement. And so this is just one conversation that we rarely talk about. We rarely talk about planning for retirement, not in the financial way, but in in reality, what our retirement will look like. And so I'm looking today, we are talking about retirement, not just from the money. Money is just one aspect of retirement, just one dimension of retirement. So if you have retirement savings plans and quote, beautiful. But I just want you to know today that it is just one of the things and the plans you need to make before retirement. The first plan you need to make before retirement, it is identifying your purpose and having an identity outside your title. Have an identity outside your title. Have an identity outside being a professor. Have an identity outside being a doctor. Most times when my friends refer to me and they say, Dr. Elizabeth, Dr. What was, I always tell them I'm simply Elizabeth. That is me. That is who I am. So I want to encourage us today because I have once sat with a retired nurse. She's retired. Yeah, they had a fantabulous retirement program for her. But just, I think, just a month into retirement, the fact that she doesn't have where to go at that point, she became agitated because her life has always been a rotation: hospital, church, home, hospital, church, home. And so when one of that tripod is off, she became destabilized because she did not identify who she was earlier and what her purpose in life is. We all know about financial security. That is the common thing we hear or we usually discuss about retirement. So I would not go deep into that. We already have a lot of people to give us orientation on that. And but because we are in a women's forum, we would be looking at this financial security in terms of planning your money from a gendered view, from a view of you being a woman. And also, health is something very important we need to plan. That is another dimension we need to plan. Your health is very, very germane. Your health and your well-being is very, very germane. And so, also, another strand is relationships and social life. Your relationship and social life. Some of us are not social. Let me use that word. Our circle of friends are just limited to our office space. We don't have a life outside that circle, outside our office space. And this has an effect at old age or at retirement season. I would prefer to use the word season. And also, lastly, we would look at the dimension of legacy and caregiving. So let's take it one step at a time. So, identity and purpose. Identity and purpose. When your title is gone, when you are no more doctor, when you are no more, just assume you are not a doctor, you are not a prof. Who exactly are you? The title, you don't have an office space, you don't have all marked up calendars, you don't have a team. Who exactly are you? So when they remove all these things, because obviously all these things will leave you at the point where you're doing pens down. Okay, yeah. I remember I was supposed to add this from the onset. I intentionally used the word pens up. We are all used to the term pens down. When people go for retirement program, they said they are doing pens down celebration, pens down events. But I intentionally use the word pens up because at retirement, you are moving into another level. You are moving into another space. So the pen is not actually down. The pen is starting again. You are still writing your life. As long as you are still living, you are still writing your story. So you are still writing. So your pens are not down. And so when all these titles are removed, when you experience it becomes more like grief, because you would have to first wait and first of all now identify, okay, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing now? It takes whole lot of time to before you can pick yourself back, because you don't have the luxury of time like you would have had. And so it is very important. That is why identifying your identity and purpose matters now before it is time for retirement. And one irony of the matter is that a lot of people plan for this, or we plan for retirement towards the tail end of retirement. We plan for retirement, maybe 5 years to go. Some are even kind enough to do 10 years to go. But even the plans are always the monetary aspect, like I said before. Nobody plans for what experience would I have when I don't have a job again. And also the role exits. Role exit is also a reason why you have to plan for your identity and know what your identity and life purpose is. Just like the video we watched at the beginning of the entire session, not just this presentation, about Steve Jobs. He said he loved what he was doing, though he wasn't able to finish his college. But the fact that he was able to, he specifically mentioned that that was able to identify his purpose early. He was opportune to identify his purpose early, and that helped him a lot. So, but it's never too late. Whatever age you had now, it's never too late to identify your purpose. So, because retirement brings some kind of disorientation for professionals, it brings a lot of disorientations for professionals. And so, when you exit that road that you are, who are you? And thirdly, there's something I called the third identity, especially for we women. It is a combination of you're having loss at two ends naturally as a woman. By the time you enter that retirement age, sometimes, yeah, in Nigeria, our retirement age is for everybody 60, 65 for some, in some sectors, 70 for some. But the reality is that when you get to whatever age of retirement it is, as a woman, you have double loss naturally. You are losing your professional identity gradually, and you're also losing a shift in your family role. Your children are no longer with you. The children you crave as much as possible to run away from while they were young, because you just needed a breathing space. By then, they are on their own. They are no longer with you. So it's more or less like a double loss at that period. And so you now have what I call the third identity. You are no more identifying yourself as a professional. You are no more identifying yourself in the family setting the way you used to be. You are now left to have, like, what else am I? And these are the three main reasons why you need to identify your purpose. And so I would want us to ask ourselves today, if there's nothing you took out of this gathering, I would love you to ask yourself today, what is my life beyond my job? Who are you beyond your job? What would I do if you have at least 40 free hours a week? You know, you have 40 hours to work a week. So now, when the whole calendar belongs to you and you don't have any deadline, who are you at that point? When you leave your job, what legacy do you want to leave? And who are you also within the community, not just work? That is an important aspect you need to ask yourself. Then for the financial dimension, yeah, know your numbers, like Latifat said. She already knows she's monitoring her pension scheme, our pension saving. Yeah, that is one important thing to do for the financial for the financial dimension, monitor your space, monitor your money, your savings, your investment. It is an important part that you need to take cognizance of. And so you need to have enough savings. I was sharing with a colleague that if the moment you got a job, you are able to save, if it's just, yeah, in Nigerian setting, you're able to save just 5,000. You just see it like an amount you pay yourself. Now, even if you're not doing investments, you're just leaving 5,000 somewhere at some point. Yes. And so, like I was saying, we should know how much we have in savings. We should cultivate the habit of saving. We should cultivate the habit of saving, and we should also learn to invest. Investment now, I'm not talking of a Ponzi scheme or get rich. There is no investment that will give you like 100% ROI. So because we are anxious to invest, let's be careful not to fall into wrong hands. Also, another point that we need to look out for as a woman is the fact that we need extra means of income. That's just the truth. We need extra means of income to close the gap. There is something called career gaps for women. A lot of women, even when they are working, before getting married, by the time they get married, they are not as productive in quotes as they used to be while being single, because you have a whole lot of things to do, you have the family to tend for. So there's every tendency that your productivity level reduces at some time. Even for some women, they go off career blind for a period of time until they're able to come back. And so for women, we have this career gap that usually happens for us. And for us to be able to compensate these career gaps, we need an extra means of income, not just our 9 to 5. And we have a lot of extra means of income we can earn from. Some of us sell things. We do a lot of selling, retailing, and co. But that is also tied to what you think your purpose is. We are going to have an activity along the line that will help us to identify our purpose the better. And so it would also help us to identify what kind of income strategy do you think you can engage in for you to have. And thank God we even have the internet space now. We have the AI that you can use for as many things as possible, but that also has to go along with your purpose. Also, we need to plan for longevity. Yes, you need to check your savings, you need to check your investments, but a lot of investments companies, or yeah, invest those that does this investment plans, most of them, their plans are not always a long-term plan. For a woman, I would always advise have a 30 plus, depending on when you retire. But let's just take an average of you retire at the age of 90. Please, at the age of 60, sorry. You retire at the age of 60. Please have your retirement plan to be 30 years plus, because we don't hope for bad things. So if all things being equal, you live long enough, it means you are going to live up to 90 plus as a woman. And we have a lot of people that are living longer now than even the children they are born in, as in than even the children being given birth to. The population of older persons by year 2050 is said that you are going to have just 5 times the number of children that we are going to have is the number of older persons that we are going to have by projection. And so it shows we are living longer. Hence, you need to plan for a longer period of time. And lastly, for the financial security, I would also advise as a woman, yes, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. But please have an independent plan as a woman. Have an independent plan. Let your plan carry your name. Yes, you can have family joint accounts, have a joint retirement plan, but please also have a retirement that bears your name for the sake of eventualities that we don't pray for, but anything can happen in future. And so please, I would always advise women should have their own plans. Speaking from my experience relating with some older women. And there are also 3 more dimensions we'll just talk about. That is your health and your well-being. A lot of times we postpone health discussions, old age health discussions. We postpone, we feel because yes, we are still moving, we are still all right, we are good, everything is fine. You don't have to visit the hospital all the time. Please, let's learn to have medical checkup as women. In short, the fact that for those that are still active before those that are not yet in the menopause stage, the fact that you waste blood every month is a reason for you to take your health seriously. Yes, we have the grace of being multitasking as women. We have the grace of doing a lot of things at the same time. We have a lot of grace for that. But please, as a woman, be conscious of your health. Be very, very conscious of your health. Don't be having a headache and you just feel, okay, let me just, don't worry, it will go. You still enter the kitchen and you are still working because you just feel that it's normal. It's just stress. I will get over it. Please attend to your health. It is very, very important. And also learn more about health discussions at old age. There's something called dementia. Learn about it. Relate with things that you have common health issues at old age. You have arthritis. There's possibility of stroke. There's possibility of high blood pressure. There's possibility of blood sugar, high blood sugar level. So please, as before you get to that stage, learn to be conscious of all these things because when you don't get conscious of them, it would come out. It would reveal itself in older years. And aside from the physical health conversation, your mental health is also very, very important because isolation and depression, they are the greatest silent risk at old age. Yes, you can have people around you and still be depressed. You can have people around you and still be and still feel lonely, still be isolated. So please, let's be conscious of our mental health. And how do we do this? Start investing in your health now. Sleep well, be moving. Yes, it is luxury to have a car. You move around with your car as often as possible. But please learn to take walks. Even if you have to go to your office with your car and everything, there are little spaces that you can walk to. Learn to take a walk. Also, your nutrition is very, very important. Your nutrition is very important. Then build emotionally healthy and build your mental health, your emotional and mental health intentionally. Be conscious of your mental health. You need to rest well. You need to be factual with yourself. When things bother you, there are a lot of people. I have this positive mindset. I call it positive mindset, and for me, it's a growth mindset. When negative things happen, such as the story that Steve Jobs shared about himself, when negative things happen, there are as women, we are always conscious of is it because who did I offend that this bad thing is happening to me? We are always agitated about things, but let's learn to make our negativity positivity. Always see positive in every negative situation you find yourself. That helps your mental health. When you begin to see positive things, when even people talk negatively about you, learn to see the positive side of it. It helps your mental health and it helps you at old age. When you see some people at old age that they said these people are they get irritated easily. This old woman gets irritated easily. This old woman, I don't know if we have non-Yorubas amongst us. This old woman, she's too wicked. She's not accommodating. She's not this, she's not that. It is not something that happened overnight. It is a culture that you have created for yourself in your younger years. So help your mental health at retirement stage by being conscious now and making positive out of your habits. Also build good habits and habits that you know that will sustain you. That is an example of what I have done. Having positive habits, health habits, have positive health habits. When it's time, take fruits a lot. These things, when you get used to them in your before old age, before retirement, you get used to it by the time you are even retiring. Another key dimension is relationships and social life. Why do you need social life as a professional woman? because our life is always surrounded about everything about our life is about the office. And the friends you make in your office space, with time, by the time you retire, these friends will not, they will, yes, they can call on you, you can, but that closeness will not be there again. That is why you need friendship outside your office space. Also, why do you need a good relationship or the relationship aspect? Retirement strains relationship, even marriages. Retirement strains marriages because at that point, before everybody goes to their office space, you have gone to your work in the morning, your spouse has gone to his work. Yes, you come back in the evening, we have a lot of things to discuss. You discuss about that's even if for a family that they are knitted anyway. You come back in the evening, you discuss with your husband what happened at the office. There's something to talk about. But when retirement sets in and it's just the two of you at home, morning, afternoon, night, there's really nothing to talk about. There's nothing new. The children, the only conversation you are most likely to have is Chinedu called today. Hayo spoke with me in the morning. That real conversation is not there. And so, how do you plan for this against retirement? Invest in your friendship. Invest in friendship outside your workplace, your church, your mosque, your group. For instance, we have the Women Connect group, which is where we are. Which is a group I belong to, where we have this social event every month. It is an opportunity to mingle, to have friends outside your normal people you see every day. When you have your community outside your office, your community members, your neighborhood, please get friends outside your office place. Also, have honest conversation with your spouse about retirement. Most times we think somebody asked me a question one day as I with my preaching. I said, now I have turned to a preacher of rethinking aging. And somebody asked me a question that at what age do you start planning for aging? And I smiled because aging commences the day you are born. Same with retirement. Your retirement starts counting down the day you got your first appointment letter or the day you become active as a worker. So please also start planning for your retirement at that point and start having conversations around your retirement. Financial conversation, um, e- emotional conversation, social life conversation with your spouse before retirement actually happens. Discuss what retirement will look like for the both of you. What will we be doing at that time? What is going to be happening when both of you have 40 hours of nothing to do? Talk about it at that point. And also build a reciprocal relationships somewhere you support people and people also support you. Not a one-way traffic, not only you giving out, not only you dishing out now. A relationship where it is you are not a pest, you are not living off someone. It is this person that we always call. After a while, the person gets tired of trying to push you or trying to be friends with you. So let's learn to reciprocate. When you see friendships that friendships that you want to keep, let's learn to reciprocate that friendship. And lastly, we are talking about legacy and caregiving. This is a very important aspect of planning towards retirement. Now, legacy, when I speak of legacy, legacy is not just your money. Legacy is the wisdom you are sharing, the people you are developing, the stories you have preserved. Because caregiving is very, very vital. Caregiving does not end at retirement, like I said earlier. Most likely, as a woman, you continue caregiving even more than it becomes more intense because you now have the luxury of time. It is believed that you now have the luxury of time. So you can care for your grandchildren, your spouse is there to be cared for, you have the whole time in the world. You have your aging parents, you have your in-laws or whatever. So obviously you have more time. And most importantly, even we as women, we don't discuss how we want to be cared for at old age. That is one thing I have discovered from my field activity. Most times men are conscious of these things more than us. We leave our retirement, our old age, we just leave it to probability. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. No, because that bridge might be broken. by the time you get there. You might not be stable enough to know what to plan at that stage. That is why it is important for you to plan early. Have that conversation. When I retire, what do I want to do? Am I going to be staying with a parent, with one of my children? Am I staying on my own? Am I getting a professional caregiver to stay with me? Start planning it now before Yorubas will say otibosori, before it becomes something beyond your control. It is better to plan it now. And how do you do this? Number one, begin to build your legacy now. Build your legacy through mentorship. Have a group of younger people that you mentor, that you talk to. You could also express yourself. You could build your legacy through writing. You could write your stories. Dr. Yashere has the AI Vantage ecosystem where she teaches a lot of things about the use of AI for professionals. You could link up with her. There are a lot of things you could do with AI, even in the writing. You could write your stories. You could invest in your community. Community now is not just your neighborhood, not just your community in your neighborhood, in your church, in your environment, outside your even environment, on this kind of platform that we have. You could come up, is an investment. The way I discuss this, I'm opportunity. I grew up with my grandmother, and because of my experience living with an older person, it gave me a lot of experience. And I also share with people. When I share with people and I talk with some of my friends and I give some advices, people always wonder that, how old are you that you are giving, do you have this wealth of experience? I'm able to gain this wealth of experience because I relate a lot with older persons and I learn from them. They have invested in me one way or the other. They have invested in whatever knowledge they give me, whatever experience they share with me. It is an investment they have made. I see them as mentors. So please learn to mentor someone younger to you. Get yourself involved in communities and also plan for your caregiving. Plan for your caregiving financially. I have a colleague here, yeah, a friend too, a colleague here that says he has a certain amount of money she deposits for her retirement. And why is she depositing for her retirement home? She doesn't want to live with anybody. Right from now, she has decided she wants to go to a retirement home, and she is already planning for that and making financial contribution towards that. So by the time she grows older and the kids are like, mommy, where do we place you? There's no problem. She has already made plans for herself. She knows where she's going. So, and she has already, so please, let's plan for that. Even if you want to live alone, make sure the house you are building, that's another orientation for another day anyway. The house we can live in as an older person is different from the house you are living in right now, where you have duplex and you are going upstairs and downstairs, or you are staying on the roof. You are staying upstairs like the ancient people, they built this in typical southwestern Nigeria. You have this upstairs where the landlord is living up and the tenants are down, and the landlord will say they want to be seeing their tenants down, they want to be spitting in quotes on their tenants down here. But at old age, those kind of things does not work. You will not be able to live in that kind of house. So you need to make provision for such a thing. Then have a conversation with whoever you think cares about you. Have true heart-to-heart conversation with your children, with your spouse, about caregiving, how you want to be cared for, and how you will wish to care for other people. And don't see this discussion as, it's just like the discussion of will, people making will. When they say people make will, the first impression is that, do you want to kill me? Do you want me to die early? You don't know what aging will require of you. No, but some people that have dementia today, some people that have, my grandmother, for example, she never used glasses until she was about 70. She had a very sharp eye, as in, when you talk of sharp eye, my grandmother had a very sharp eye. But now, she got blind at 85. Now she cannot see anything again. She didn't use glasses until 70, but now she cannot. So you don't know what will happen to you. You don't know what aging will require of you. And so that is why it is important to plan for your aging. And I give this framework. This framework also relates with the initiative I run, which is Leads Initiative. It means legacy. L there means legacy. E there means education. A means aging, and D means dignity. This is a framework I am sharing with everybody. Make a conscious effort before you retire to know what you want to leave behind in your family, in your profession. What do you want to leave behind? Don't think of it at the end. Education, please stay curious. I love what Prof. Vivian said the other time. She said she's always curious, she's always learning, and that is one good attribute. That is one good attribute. Let's learn to continuously learn. No knowledge is a waste, like we saw in the video. No knowledge is a waste. Every time an opportunity comes to learn, every time an opportunity comes to read, please learn to read, learn something new. It keeps your brain sharp. And so when after retirement, that habit will not leave you. And also, don't see aging as decline. And that is the sermon I am trying to always preach now. Aging necessarily does not mean decline. When anybody hears about aging, the first thing that comes to your mind is that weak grandmother at home, or that person, one old man with stroke, or one woman with dementia running around. That is not what aging is about. Aging can be blissful. It is another season. It is just a season of life. Now we are in the younger season of our life. Aging, at that point where you grow older, it is another season that has a different gifts from the gifts you have as a child. And lastly, you deserve to grow old with dignity. That means if you want to grow old with dignity, you have to be conscious of your financial independence, you have to be emotionally whole, and you have to be socially connected. And so, before the end, we want to quickly run this quiz. This quiz is something I have developed over based on my research and interaction with older persons across at least I've interacted with older persons in Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Malawi. So let's just say sub-Saharan Africa, kind of. And so I developed, sorry. So this I want us to go through this quiz is just 10 questions, and you have 8 profiles that helps you to identify your purpose that can help you at retirement. So I call it the retirement purpose profile. When your job is gone, most likely you have this kind of profile. So there are 8 questions that can lead you to know what kind of profile you are going to be having. And it gives you a better idea of who you are if you are able to answer these 10 questions, not because not don't answer like what do I want to be or who do I wish I am. Who are you currently? When you sleep, Yorubas will say when you pay Oro àti Ọ̀dọ̀fin, as in when you call yourself inner, your inner self, and you want to ask yourself certain questions, answer these questions that same way, the way you will talk to you. You know you are the only one that knows yourself. Everybody outside can feel like, this is what this person feels like, but you are the only one that knows yourself. So try to answer these questions. Go to this link. Let me share the link in the group chat, or you just scan this
I think
you
they
can
can just,
scan the back. Do you take off? What are you going to be taking off today? Before you leave this conversation today, aside from the survey that you are going to take, before you leave this discussion group today, number one, we've talked about 5 dimensions. So identify one dimension that you have not really considered in preparing for, even if it's just one. If you cannot do all, just one. The one that you think you are lacking behind on, that I've not really thought about this aspect of retirement for me. Think about that one, document it down, and try to make conscious effort for it. Also, number 2, write down one of the discussions. I said earlier that retirement discussion is something we don't used to want because the perception of old age is decline. So we don't want to really have discussions about retirement. So what is that one thing that you are most afraid of when you remember retirement? Write it down, because it will help you to take conscious efforts to remedy that thing. So, and lastly, choose one person, whether your spouse, your child, a friend, choose one person to discuss retirement with, to have an heart-to-heart discussion about retirement. Maybe this week, we are starting a new week today. or in the months, we have the whole of April. But just make sure you carry out, these are like the basic steps you need to carry out first before you do your pens up. And so, lastly, okay, I wrote something about this roadmap. There's a proper roadmap that I developed something on a roadmap for those eight profiling that we have. If you want to have a proper roadmap, a practical plan for your retirement, you can get a copy of this. And I also have another book that gives you insights into life at older years. You don't have to wait until you become old before you think about old age. So you have it has a lot of reflections in this book, a lot of examples. I shared practical examples of people I have met, how they have seen life, how they navigate life, what navigating life means at old age, and what purpose finding means at old age. And so that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you. If there are contributions, suggestions, let's have it.